Ladies, we're going to start sitting down actually. If you need a blanket underneath your bottoms, just put that there so that your sitting bones are slightly lifted, but your pubic bone is dropping down. And just loosely cross your legs. If it feels more comfortable to have something underneath your knees, if they're right up here, just put something underneath your knees so that you feel your hip flexors can open a little bit. Alrighty, and then when you're ready, just start to circle your upper body, your head, your shoulders. And whilst you're doing so, take some nice deep full breaths. So you're pulling the breath in right into the back of your nostrils, down into your lungs, and then you're sighing your breathing out like this. Deep breath in, sighing breath out. One way and then the other way, rolling about, massaging, loosening up. Beautiful. Okay, so stacking now so that your spine is nice and long, your head is perfectly aligned. Take one hand up towards the ceiling, grab by the wrist, and then pull. And as you pull, start to tilt over to the side so that your ribs can flare out, and take some very purposeful deep breaths into those intercostal muscles between the ribs, pulling the ribs up away from the pelvis, opening up the back of your lungs. See if you can go into the ujjayi breath now. So your mouth is very softly closed, your jaw is soft, and you're just breathing in and out of your nostrils, and you've got that lovely kind of ocean-like sound to your breath. And when you come up and over to the other side, take tummy button to spine just to protect your lower back. Other hand up and dropping over, lateral stretch. Beautiful, slowly coming down. Turn the palms, take a deep breath in. And then sigh the breath out. And again, deep breath in. Sigh the breath out. And one more deep breath in, hands up, hold the top of the breath. And side out. Roll those shoulders up and back, massaging through the whole shoulder girdle. And then take the fingertips onto the shoulders, elbows together, breathing in and breathing out, either through the mouth or, if you're comfortable with the ujjayi breath, mouth closed, in and out of the nostrils. So the action is accentuating the breath, and the breath is accentuating the action. Good, leave the shoulders back, feet out nice and wide, and then I'm just going to get you to kind of squeeze your toes like so, and then pull your toes back and spread your toes, and then squeeze your toes, and then pull them back, get the feet operating, and then slide them down again, and put your knees from one side to the other. So hands just slightly behind you to the sides to hold your spine nice and tall. And we just want to get those hips mobilizing, and then dropping to one side, pushing the inside of the knee down slightly. That's it, and up and over to the other side. Beautiful. Now, I'm just going to turn around on my mat, take the blanket away, hands underneath the knees like so, and then rounding the back, tucking the tail here, and then we're lifting the heart center, we're squeezing shoulder blades together, coming onto flat feet, rolling towards your pubic bone. So rounding, holding, and then lifting, heart lifting, shoulders squeezing, rounding. Upper back gets a stretch, upper back gets a squeeze, breathing out, breathing in, and then stay here. Bring your feet a little bit closer, tummy button in towards your spine, and then just kind of rock onto your back. So you're rocking and rolling. Often we do this at the end of the practice. We do this now to wake up the central nervous system. Maybe see if you can just balance for a moment. Down, whoop, down. Pelvic floor needs to be lifting if you're balancing. And then down, whoop. And then just release yourself down. Bring your knees in towards your chest, hands on knees, big circles with those knees. So get right into those hip flexors, into those rotator muscles around the hip joints, up and then the other way, big circles here. And then push your feet away towards the ceiling, pressing out through the heels, and then bring your toes towards you. Exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. Leave them there, massage the ankles around now. So nice big circles with the feet. In fact, let's do that with the wrists as well. We're going to be using these wrists. So let's wake them up. One direction and then the other direction. Now push the heels away from you and push the pelvis down. So we can wake up the back of the legs, give those hamstrings a rub. Pressing the back of the pelvis into your mat. And then with toes wide, slide your toes outwards and pull your heels towards each other like Charlie Chaplin. Rub the outside of your legs. Beautiful, coming back. Now just bending your knees. You can keep your feet quite active here. Hands on the outside of your knees. Start to push your knees out into your hands, resisting with your hands. And you want to be breathing out and zipping up from pelvic floor up towards tummy button and even up towards your ribs. Beautiful. Take fists on the inside of your knees, thumbs facing each other. Shoulders away from ears. Start to push inwards with your knees and outwards with your fists. Same thing, starting to do those puffy breaths out, zipping upwards from your pelvic floor, front of your pelvic floor up through scooped lower belly. And then pause, flat hands on top of your knees. Start to pull your toes back and then start to pull your knees back towards you as you gently press your hands into your knees. Core switching on. Beautiful, just relax those feet. Give your feet a little swirl from side to side. Hands down, zipping up through pelvic floor into lower belly. And then just tapping one foot and then lifting it up. And then as you lift it up, do a little puppy breath out. This is absolutely fine on your lower back. If you're really quite strong in the core, you can do double taps. If that is feeling like you are putting pressure into your lower back, if you don't feel like you can maintain that deep core switching on, then come back to a tap, a tap, a tap, breathing out as you pull up. Beautiful. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Again, just circling here, one direction, and then the other direction. Feet down onto your mat. You want to have your toes facing straight forward if you can. You want to have the knees directly on top of the heels and start to push your heels into the mat to bring your pelvis up, rolling up your spine and then rolling back down again. So you feel this kind of nice massage up your spine, but we're also getting the heel connection with hamstrings and activation of gluteal muscles. So we want to make sure that these stabilizing glute muscles, stabilizing the whole pelvis, start to strengthen if they have gone to sleep over the years. Pushing down. Can I suggest you breathe out as you come up? It's a little bit counterintuitive to breathe out as you come up, but it just means that we are naturally getting a little bit of core activation at the same time. Pelvic floor lifts, vacuums up slightly on our conscious breath out, like so. Good, and this time when you come up, just hold it here, keep active here, and then draw your shoulders slightly underneath you, so your shoulders are coming towards each other. You're getting a squeezy sensation between your shoulder blades. Hands either down onto your mat to stabilize, or if you can reach easily, take the hands together, interlace them, press hands, wrists, forearms into your mat, and then this is nice to slide your knees away from you. You'll find you'll get a much better front of the body opening and stretching to hip flexors and the quadriceps. front of your thighs. If you let your knees slide away from you, it makes it a little bit stronger on your glutes as well. Nice full deep breath. Open your lungs here. Good. Take the hands apart. Take your shoulders apart and very slowly peel your way down, 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 down onto your mat. Just settle here for a moment. Let the back spread out. And I'm going to get you to slide onto your tummy so that, what's that? So that we can get into the back of the body. First of all, just toes in, heels out. Rock the pelvis from side to side so you can rinse off any kind of compression around your sacrum. So rocking from side to side, wobble your bum as much as you can. And then let's switch on bum muscles. So just let your head rest onto your hands here. Tummy button lifts up off the mat. You want to take your right heel up towards the ceiling and then squeeze the right glute so that your knee doesn't come quite down onto the mat. You're flexing your foot and you're doing these little pulses, just getting that right gluteal muscle to activate. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Tummy button to spine to make sure your lower back stays happy. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Drop that down. Give it a couple of pats through your foot. Wobble your bum. Other side. Left foot up towards the ceiling. And then lifting the knee just off the ground and then starting to squeeze that left glute. And you might find that one side is fine and the other side isn't. So this is what we call swadhyaya, when we are observing the body without attaching a story. We're observing the body and seeing what is presenting and what we need to do to adapt and to realign, bring more symmetry back to our body. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. So one side is a lazy butt and the other side is working. Focus more on the side that needs to be improved. Squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop it, wobble it. And then hands here beside you by your shoulders, elbows in, tummy button off the ground, tops of the feet actively pushing into the ground so that your knees slightly suck up off the ground. You can feel the quadriceps, front of your legs, a little bit active here. Bum not squeezing. And then breathe in deeply so that your lungs fill. And as your lungs fill, just like a hot air balloon, slightly rising off the ground, you lift upwards and then releasing down. Very little pushing through hands. It's all the muscles around your spine working here. Breathing in, breathing out. You might only come up a tiny bit, like literally here, so that's fine. We just want to make sure you're not pushing into the big back muscles, but instead working on your core back muscles. Breathing in, and breathing out. Good. Now roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then slide them right back. Your shoulder blades coming towards each other. Take the hands down towards your feet. Squeeze and stretch your fingertips back and then point your toes. Breathe in and take your fingers and toes upwards and backwards. Chin is tucking in, crown of the head is rocketing forward. This is called Shalabhasana. And we want to feel like we're rocketing through space here. Squeezing, lifting, activating the back line of the body. Keep breathing, keep squeezing, keep lifting, keep flying. 3, 2, 1. Turn the head to one side, come down, flop and rock. Toes slightly in, heels slightly out. Nice rockety, 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 rockety feeling. Very good. Hands under shoulders. Push yourself back into an extended child pose. Knees nice and wide. So you want to get into the inner thighs. You want to get sitting bones nice and wide, stretching across the pelvic floor. Fingertips on your mat, wrists off your mat, shoulders sliding away from your ears. And then stretch that spine. Take a couple of conscious breaths into the lower lobes of the back of your lungs. So you're trying to fill your lungs to maximum capacity. You might find you do a little ripple effect through the body as you breathe. Good. Coming up onto all fours, nice wide hands. Knees a little bit closer together. Tuck your toes, drop back. So as we come forward, we're puffing the breath out and we are lifting pelvic floor, lower belly scooping up, pausing with shoulders just over fingers. So quite a lot of weight in the wrists and then dropping back again. Release your belly. Breathing out, pausing as you come forward and then coming back. Now, if you've been doing this for a while, keep going to come into a plank and then back. So we breathe out consciously. We make sure pelvic floor and deep core muscles are switched on. And then we come up into that extra weight bearing, dropping down and softening as we come back. So if you're still working on the deep core coordination, pause here, please. It's still fabulous on your arms as well as the deep core muscles. Good. And one more. Okay, just pause for a moment. Elbows wide, hands together. Drop your chest down as if you're praying. Massage the hands around just to loosen the wrists. And then we're going to come back and do the same thing, but come into side plank. So these are your options. If you're happy with weight through wrists and your shoulders are happy, we start here, we breathe out, scooping low belly, we come into a full plank, one hand into the middle of the mat, and then we shuffle over to the side. So the little toe edge of your bottom foot is pressing into the mat. You can take the top foot and put it on top like that, just to stabilize. It's all about the obliques here, and then also these adductor muscles here. So if this feels good for you and you're breathing out and you are activating your oblique muscles, you're breathing to pick them up towards the ceiling, and this feels like you can balance, then challenge your balance by putting your other foot on top. If this feels easy, Sarah, hand on top like that, that's it. And then see if you can bring knee and elbow together. Good. Okay, so that's that version. If that does not feel good on your wrists yet, instead, take your forearm across the mat, elbow still on top of, underneath shoulder, and then bring your knee onto the ground. Same thing, we're activating here. So you might be breathing here, you might be extending, you might be breathing here. But please do a version that feels like it's just on the edge of being a little bit difficult, yeah? But you don't want to be shaking, shaking, shaking. If you're shaking, 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 come down. So when you've done a good 5 breaths out on that side, come back for a moment, give yourself a little release, and then do the other side, starting again from here. So you're either breathing out and sliding onto the side, elbow directly under your shoulder, picking up your obliques here. This is the sideways, great for toning the sideways. No pressure through the pelvic floor, so it's fabulous. And maybe exhaling, elbow, knee together. If you're doing the full version, hand in the center. Make sure you don't lock your elbow. So a slight micro bend on the elbow. This is really what you want to suck the whole arm up into the shoulder girdle here. And then maybe challenging the balance. And when you're ready, when you've had enough of that, come down and again, just release the wrists, let the shoulder girdle drop down towards the ground. Massage the wrists, one direction and then the other. And then stacking forehead on top of fists, shoulders nice and relaxed. And just take a couple of breaths where you're releasing the whole pelvic area. We've been squeezing in, we've been consolidating inwards. Let it all spread. Belly is spreading, shoulders are nice and released here. Sighing the breath out. Very good. And then coming back onto hands and knees, bring the knees together, drop your hips from side to side for a moment. So we can just give those guys a nice release right down where we've been squeezing. And then take your pelvis right around into a big circle, like so, one direction, and then the other direction. Lovely. Now, come and kneel and bring yourself into alignment. So you want to have your head directly stacked on top of your neck, and your shoulders are sliding down your back. Chest is open. You're not thrusting ribs. Rib cage is dropping down. Hands together. Now we're going to propel up via our gluteal muscles, strengthening the bum muscles. So breathe in deeply. Glide as you squeeze and take the elbows out to the side, and then release down. So you squeeze and you glide, and you release. Squeeze and glide, and down. Hopefully you feel this in your chest muscles. Now squeeze and glide, take the hands upwards. Pause here for a moment. Pressing the knees down, opening the heart center, and then slowly bring the hands down towards the ground. Again, squeeze and glide and lift, and then release. And squeeze and glide and lift. This time, elbows down behind you, stretching out into that extended child pose. Pausing here, lengthening the spine. So we want to get this lovely stretch in the spine and downward facing dog. Coming up onto hands and knees, nice wide hands. Lift your tail, tap your toes. Imagine your tail is being pulled back and up, breathing out. As you lift the spine, stretch the spine. Keep going, keep going. Roll the shoulders away from your ears. Give your head a shake. Make a bit of noise. Press those heels down one at a time. Walk your dog around. Do a little bit of a groove with your dog, dropping knees across the midline. Breathing fully, deeply. Bring your feet towards each other. Make sure your hands are nice and wide. Press down through your left heel and take your right foot out behind you. And then swirl those right toes around. Take the foot towards your bottom. That's it. Draw your knee and your hip up towards the ceiling and look underneath your armpit. And smile. That's the way. Bring your knee back down again. Now you're going to bring that knee on an exhalation up towards your elbow, like so. Beautiful, very good. And then just drop that down. Come back into a nice downward dog shape. Take the right foot into the middle of the mat. Left foot out behind you, give it a swirl. Foot in towards bottom. Knee and hip up towards the ceiling. Stretching, twisting, opening, lifting. Breathing. And then slowly swiveling back, shoulders away from ears. Draw yourself forward on an exhalation using core. Pause here. And then whee, all the way back. Toes in, heels out. Walk yourself forward. Bend the knees slightly. Let your tummy squash down onto your thighs. And just hang here with your head nice and loose. Elbows being held by hands. Arms really heavy. Just rock from side to side. Good. Dropping down. Roll those shoulders back. Interlace the hands behind you if you can. And if that's okay, hands up and over. And then whole shoulder girdle lifts up towards the ceiling. If that's not okay on your shoulders, try hands on hips and elbows together so you still get that nice stretch in the front of your shoulders here. Good. Wherever version you are in, slowly drop the hands down. Heel toe your feet towards each other so they are hip width apart, and just spread your toes nice and wide. So we like big fat hobbit feet in yoga. And then pull your weight back. So like you're skiing, weights through the heels, and then bring yourself up, arms out in front of you to counterbalance, and bring yourself into, it's called Utkatasana. It's power pose, chair pose, espresso pose. Shoulders are down away from your ears, and you're slightly activating your upper back muscles. Weight is absolutely in your heels. So your toes, yes, they are on the ground, but they're nice and light. You're working the base of the rib cage in, You can feel the back muscles working. You can feel your core muscles working. Holding here. Now we're going to come up on a couple of squats. So drop down. Imagine you have a basketball. Breathing out. Push down and out with your feet. So down and slightly out to activate glutes. And then take your hands up. Dropping down again. Breathing out to activate your bum muscles. As you come up with your hands, you also activate core muscles. Breathing out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Beautiful. Take the hands out to the side. I'm just going to move a little bit over. And come into a high lunge here. So opening up the hip flexors. Front knees, my left foot, knee on top of ankle there. So shoulders away from ears. Now draw yourself slightly forward and hands back so you can feel the triceps, upper arm muscles working. Chin is tucking in. Now launch yourself forward and do some little pickups with your back foot. So getting into the bum. The weight is in the front heel still. So we're activating the thigh muscles of that standing leg. Good. And then see if you can launch yourself into warrior three. So it's like you're flying. You're coming to a balance. Breathing. Arms out to the sides. Maybe out to the front if that feels okay. But sides is good. Chin is in. Foot is stretching. Crown is stretching. And then drop the back toes down and slide yourself into high lunge. So back toes on the ground. Heel is up. Take the hands up if that feels good. Thumbs back, little fingers forward. And then lifting the heart center so you can feel this fabulous stretch in the hip flexors here. Nice deep breath. And then come into an angel pose. Just give your angel shoulders a bit of a shake. Going to the other side. So swivel around to the other side. And then launch yourself forward. So we're like a little rocket here. Fingertips up towards the ceiling. Little fingers up towards the ceiling. Chin is tucking in. Come forward, activating upper back muscles, and then little pickups. I've got a handy wall here, so if I tip over to the side, I can just touch the wall, kind of cheating. And then I'm going to move away. And then come into your warrior three. So your balance here, fabulous for your standing leg muscles. Also activating all of your back muscles. And then when you're really dropping down into your high lunge, you might need to rearrange your feet. Using this as a rest pose, invigorating rest pose. Good. Swivel your way back. Now you're in goddess. Dropping down. Drop up and over. Lateral stretch. Toes are out slightly. That's it. And then up and over. Lovely. Rinsing out the whole body. Dropping shoulders across the midline. Breathe out as you drop. And 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 come back into the center. Get your tail swishing from side to side. Pull back so you get the inner thigh stretch. Toes are pulling back towards you. Making sure this knee doesn't drop inwards. So lovely deep stretch here on these inner thigh muscles. And then the other side. Good, good, good. Beautiful. Heel toe a little bit closer together again. Come down through Malasana. So stretching those knees out to the side. Pushing out with your forearms. Maybe with elbows if that feels okay. Hands at heart center. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Jaw is nice and relaxed. Pelvic floor is getting a decent stretch. Fabulous. And then just slide your way down back into that knee swish, window wiping from side to side. And then just come and sit and take your blanket underneath your bottom if you find that you round through your lower back. Come and sit comfortably. Hands with thumb and first finger together. Make sure you ripple up through your spine. Roll the shoulders one at a time back. Draw your chin in. Imagine you have a string from the back of your head lifting you up towards the ceiling, or I like to imagine a mother cat has picked me up by the scruff of the neck and has just kind of lifted me up to get, it's called Jalandhara Bandha, so slightly drawn in through the chin. Closing the eyes and just letting yourself sink into the sensation of vibration just underneath the skin surface. Take your mind's eye down into your sacrum, down into your tail. And at this tailbone, just see in your mind's eye little swirling, sparkling lights, almost like a ball of fire, this sparkling, moving light. And then consciously breathe in and pull that imaginary light right up your spine. So you can feel yourself reconfiguring upwards as the light lifts through to the very crown of your head. And then as you breathe out, feel those little sparkles dispersing, dissipating through the body, flowing downwards, gathering at the tail, drawing inwards and upwards on the inhale, and like a fountain as you exhale, flowing through, softening, relaxing everything inside. So doing a few of these bicycle chain movements of circular breathing with your mind focused on a light lifting, sparkling, swirling, dissipating, washing your body clean with your gentle awareness. And then letting go of visualization of circular breathing, and just take a moment to feel the coolness of each natural breath. So no stretching, slowing, just natural breath. Feel the coolness of that natural breath coming in and out of your nostrils. Noticing the coolness of the air on your exposed skin. Feeling your eardrums opening so that you can almost feel sound coming into your eardrums and into your brain. And just lifting the corners of your mouth a little bit, and notice how that little action sends endorphins through the whole system. Notice how soft your eyes are, how soft your jaw is. Take the fingertips out to the side, turn the palms to face the ceiling. Imagine that sparkling light is now building in your palms, so you can almost feel that energy. And as you inhale, pull that energy up and around your body. Slowly open the eyes, looking upwards, hold the top of the breath, and then go, ah,